Okay. Alright, how's everyone doing today? Basically, what I'd like to do now is go over a short video on my quick progression in doing portraits. Portraits has been something that I've always really wanted to be able to do. I've always wanted to be able to capture a likeness of somebody. I still can't do that perfectly. It's a growing aspect, and that's why we're doing this blog, or I am at least. Hopefully you're practicing along with me so we can see each other's artwork as we go along. But getting to the nitty gritty, basically, I've already drawn what we're going to be seeing today, and it's just going to be a time lapse of it so I can get a little bit more content on here until I can start fiddling with new programs to actually create on a recording. So, is what we're going to see today is basic skin tone techniques, and just a very quick time lapse on some tips I use to draw faces. So let's get right into it. Time lapse. Now, as you can see, I imported a picture of Leroy Jethro Gibbs, character from NCIS. I picked it because it was already grayscale. He didn't really have a lot of dark features in it because I know I tend to go a little on the darker side. At the end of the video, I'll actually show you an earlier portrait that I had made. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and do that now. I use two different apps. I use 53 as well for my doodling, just to get random things out there. But this was a face that I was just kind of making. As you can see, I got way too in depth with the darkness that I was using. So here is a sketch I've been working on just a few days ago. So I'm going to go ahead and time-lapse this now a little bit so that we can see exactly what I did. Now, I originally traced over those initial circles and where the center line for the eyes and the middle of the face would be, just so that I knew that my proportions would be somewhat to scale, which is important. And every artist needs to find their starting point, essentially. If we backtrack a little bit here, you can actually see that I start with my eyes, because that's, like I said before, my strong suit. So then I went ahead and filled in around the neck where it's the darker portions, and started getting a little bit more detail into the middle of the face and trying to create a little bit of depth into it. And you'll notice with most of these, I'm not drawing solid concrete lines yet. They're more rough templates as where they should be. As if you'll notice in the top right of the head, there's just kind of some stray scratch marks that I hadn't really attempted to do much with. Now currently, if we zoom in, I'm actually working on individual pixels, I believe, in here with a stippling brush that I have. And now I'm starting to bring in some of his wrinkles to bring out just a little bit of the age that he has. Now, if you'll notice to the right of his nose, I kind of just blocked in a little bit of light shading because I noticed that that's where there is some shading in the actual picture, but it's not a heavy skin tone. It's more reflection of light from his cheekbones. So right there you can see I blended it in a little bit more, made it a little bit lighter, to show that his nose is actually a little bit more round. One thing that I like to mention too is that most people forget on the tops of eyelids there's actually a thin flap of skin that's a hard line drawn in mostly. And I wish I had a pencil so I could show you this over top of this time lapse, but unfortunately I don't have the software for that right now. We'll skip ahead a little bit, get a little bit more detail into the eyes. Styles, whether I wanted to use an airbrush or not, but towards the end of this portrait I got a little impatient. I think at this point I'd been working on this for probably about 6 hours, I would say, so the hair wasn't a big concern for me. As you can see right there, I just blocked in with some shading graphite where his cheekbones are at their lightest, just to give a little bit of depth, because you'll notice in hyper-realistic drawings that individuals don't actually use white except for pure highlights, in like the glint of an eye, or a highlight in some hair, or where light is really shining at. So while you want to make sure that you're not adding in too much darkness like we saw in the original picture that I had showed earlier, you do want to make sure that you do get some shading in there just to portray skin. So, in my further lessons, more portraits that I'll go back into lightening skin up like I did here at the end, and giving alternate brush strokes just so that the skin doesn't have so much of a painted feel. It actually looks porous and looks more realistic. So as you can see right now, I'm just going back through, darkening in where I think actual lines should be, and putting in the final touch-up highlights. So I hope this brief overview of this time-lapse on this sketch will help you guys out a little bit. And I like that I could show you that I did not use the full portrait overlapping to use all my shading marks. And it isn't quite... I'm going to stop now.
Thanks for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I obviously didn't have time to go over all of the details of drawing a face, as there's just way too many. If you feel the need to, go ahead and let me know that I missed some things or things you'd like me to elaborate on, but plan in the future for me to give lessons on mouth, lips, eyes, hair, everything in specific. So until next time, guys, have fun drawing. Make sure to practice every day.